few more days that I know that it's here. Today, I have Tara beside me, and she is a dear
And this is
friend.
loading.
Oh, there we go. It's still on.
Okay. So here.
Now I've muted it. I've muted the YouTube. So she's a dear friend of mine. We met through yoga, right? And just connecting on that level and getting to know each other and virtually. And I've watched her homeschool her daughter and travel all over the world and just bless her daughter with amazing experiences. And in the process, just dive deeper and deeper into her truth and just stand in it in a way that has been profound and beautiful and controversial at times to to life and at the same time just really listening to your gut, Tara, and really studying and exploring and leaning into just your enjoyment and what fills you up and what fills up your daughter and being open to just about anything. And so when the vision of your face came through in the vision of this series, I wasn't shocked at all. But we haven't talked about this. And so I'm really, really excited for this conversation. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I want to also thank you for blessing me this week with beautiful teas and just information on how to just keep my immune system going and happy and just owning who you are and what you do in such a way that benefits all of your friends and your family and really the world on a new level, and saying, I've never done an interview before, but okay. All right, I'll jump in. 2 feet, here we go. So I want to just invite you to share with whoever gets to listen to this just about yourself authentically, like how you see yourself, the truth that you stand in for yourself, and what passions and gifts that you are feeling called to bring to the world. And while you do that, I'm going to share with the world our interview. Tell them that we're live.
Okay. Great. Well, when I moved to Alaska, I got married and I kind of did the typical thing. I jumped in with both feet and I helped my husband's dream come true, which is to run a fishing lodge, which we've done for 22 years. And in that time, I knew that that was the season of my life. And then I had my daughter, but that I had to keep growing. I had to keep figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do in that process so I wouldn't lose myself, because you can so easily all of a sudden, what happened to me? Everybody does it. Everybody I know. It's the midlife crisis that they talk about. Anyway, so I joke that I'm the...
Who am I?
Exactly. I'm the eternal student. So I've always been obsessed with gardening and nutrition. And so I went back to school for nutrition, and then I went to Reiki, and then yoga, and then reflexology. But herbalism's my main passion, just because it works well with everything. And I'm still not doing any of it professionally, because I'm still at a season, and I've been lucky enough to have a season where I'm dedicated to raising my daughter. I didn't have her till I was 36. So, I'm still running the lodge, but I don't know. I've almost felt like it's a lead up, getting ready for something. What that something is, I don't know, but I'm prepared. And I've
Sure.
practiced on my friends and family, and it's tangible. Like this stuff works. It's amazing.
Yeah. So in the light of what's happening in the world today, as I just keep sharing this around,
Okay.
and your passion, like, why do you think that, I mean, okay, so this whole series has really been about my initial like download, for lack of a better word. Like I'm sitting in prayer and meditation and I'm totally unstoppable confidence, relaunching my private practice. Like I was full blown, like right there. And then I felt spirit moved me to like, anchor heaven on earth. Like how are people creating their heaven on earth? How are people walking their talk, and the messiness of it, right? The curiosity of it, the resistance of it, the trust, that self-trust that is so deep in it, looks differently to everybody. So we've talked a lot about trust, we've talked a lot about integration, we've talked a lot about resistance and it not being all like rosy and beautiful. And when it comes to your journey with really, I mean, you have gifts. I don't know everybody, if you have ever been interested in herbs and natural medicine and even dove a little bit into it. Like I was going to go to naturopathic school and it came to all of that. And I was like, oh no, this is like far too much information. Like I'm sticking to psychology because you really have to have a passion and understanding for it. There's so much to it. So I don't really know what I'm asking besides like what, like this is a series, like, and this is your truth. Like, what have you learned about yourself and really standing in this truth of being an herbalist and about the earth as you've gone through these different seasons that you just talked about in your life?
Right. Well, I think gathering all of that information, it's important because you need to understand how plants work. But at the same time, what I've found is intuitively, and I think everybody could do this right now, is what's in your backyard, what speaks to you. And herbalism is listening to the energetics of plants. It's not Western medicine where, oh, you take this for this. And, and so I do a lot of stuff intuitively. I walk around in my backyard and I listen, and I saw some devil's club shoots coming up. And that's medicine. That's respiratory medicine right there. Intuitively, the plant speaking to me. And I mean, I know it sounds very cheesy, but it works. So getting out in nature, and then, everybody right now, because we're forced to, can go outside and see the resilience of dandelions starting to pop up. Not in Alaska, but the rest of the states right now. That's a resilient plant that is amazing for you. So listening to what you need is almost more important, I think, with plant medicine than studying for 10 years, even though that, studying is important because there's contraindications, but the intuitiveness of the energy of the plants.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like taking pills. I like going out. Spruce tips are starting to happen in Alaska right now. You can see them sprouting. That's vitamin C. So really, I mean, getting back to the earth, it's going to force all of us to get back and not be able to get on Amazon. I need turmeric from India. I need, looking around, what do I have? What has God given me, like in this block, this, park next to me, or, and listen. Like, I have a hard time meditating, I'm going to be honest with you, but I can go out in the woods and sit and just listen.
So when you say listen, like how would somebody tap into that for themselves if they've never experienced just like listening or trusting themselves to like pick up something and know what it is, or because there's poisonous things too.
and that's where the knowledge does come important. So like I suggest that people, order a book on your local fauna and flora and start with simple things. Even if you grow a mint plant, you're growing it, you're watering it, you're nurturing it, you're loving it. And then you ingest that, sit with it. How does it feel? How does it make your body feel? Does it make your body feel good? Do you feel different in your digestion? And that's why I think wild foraging and growing your own stuff is energetically, it's so important. I mean, to me, it's like, have you ever had somebody mad at you say, can I get you a cup of coffee? Or, you have a waitress that's angry and they bring you food and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to eat that.
Yeah.
There's some, I think that's forcing people right now to cook again and to start gardening. Everybody I know has started seeds right now. People that don't garden are doing that. And there's something beautiful about that. It's good for our souls. You just have to try it. You just have to be brave enough, and now's the time.
Yeah. So if somebody
grow a micro, sit with it.
What would be good things for us to start growing? Specifically, let's go specifically for immunity and for this virus. So bronchial.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, okay. So I'm thinking, I don't know why, just because I think it'll be nice for people to get out in nature. So specifically with Alaska, we're gonna have Devil's Club. We're gonna have spruce, fir. I've been making a big pot of water, and you can take rosemary, rosemary, sage, thyme. Think of all of your herbs. Start growing those. You can put them in a big pot of water and steam them. Take a towel over, breathe it in, hold. All your breath work that you're talking about, getting the oils from those herbs in your lungs, holding it. They're antiviral, they're antibacterial, they're easy to grow. I love lemon balm is my favorite go-to. I drink lemon balm tea every day, and nettles. And plants are also funny because they're not just respiratory. They have so many constituents in them that like nettles is also good for your immune system. So is lemon balm. Elderflower is safe. See, I made plantain. We're gonna have plantain soon. Birch leaves. There's a lot of red clover.
There's so
dandelions. There's so much. Yeah. I mean, so adaptogens are herbs like, all of those are adaptogens as well that like help your immune system. And I like doing teas instead of extracts because teas are safe. And in the West, we like to think more is better, but it's not. So, that was the big controversy with elderberry. I don't know if you paid attention to that. If you're drinking gallons of elderberry a day.
I was taking a lot. I think I had that conversation with you because I was like doing all this elderberry, and then I was like, I'm just like, my stomach's off. Like, I'm not feeling good.
Yeah.
And I haven't felt that way at all since I stopped doing my bazillion gallons of elderberry.
Yeah, more is not better. And it's just essential oils. A lot of people ingest essential oils. That's a whole nother topic, but more is not better. Less is better because you're using, especially when you're doing extracts and oils, you're, one bottle of lemon oil, that would be like drinking, 100 lemons. You don't want to do that, even a couple of drops. So I think it's always safer to use teas and infusions, and plus the ritual of making it. I ritualize everything. So if I'm making tea, I have a candle, I have blessings, and
And there's so much proof. Like, one of the first things I teach in any of my nutrition things is like that blessing on your water, that blessing. I mean, there's so much study. Dr. Emoto or something like that. Wasn't that his name? Yeah. There's so much studies on just our intentions, right? And the intention that we put on the plants that we grow. We have downstairs, we brought home a huge um, avocado tree from Florida that is
Oh,
turning into quite the tree. I just talk to it every day. I'm like, you're so
yeah.
pretty. Like, it just
Oh,
keeps growing and growing and growing. Um, and the same with our water and our food. It's important to understand that what we put into it. So one of my questions is, and you gave me some tea the other day. So I was looking at, like, I have one of those little tea things, and I like put it in there, and I like steep it and everything. But if you don't have those things and we're on lockdown and it's not essential to go to the store and get a tea thing, like I don't even know if they have them at the grocery store. I've never looked. But how would you make it?
So a lot of people have a French press. That's what I do. Or you can just strain it through a colander, like a sieve, you know? So I'll soak the herbs. I actually posted something last night. I'll soak the herbs and I'll like the mix that you have, I'll do often in milk for Isabel. And then I just pour it over a sieve. So you just soak them. But a French press is actually my favorite way. But if you don't have a French press, you know, do it the old school way, just like cowboy coffee when you're camping. You know, just put the herbs in water.
Okay.
You can steam your face, steam your lungs, and then strain it, and you have a tea. You can, you know, get multi-purpose right there.
Wow, I never thought about that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So,
And then cooking with these herbs too, you know, like cooking with spicy stuff right now is going to keep your lungs clean. It's going to keep your energy moving. It's warming. You know, a lot of it's intuitive. Like your tea, I had a plan for your tea, but then intuitively I was like, no, she needs some rose in there. She needs some, you know, heart opening. She needs, because we were both talking about how our chests have been tight, you know,
yeah,
and
and just that expansion, and then I have been putting like rose everywhere. like, oh, rose.
yeah,
So I just love this. I think that there's oftentimes that we don't trust our own intuition. We don't trust that there's
you froze on me, Lisha.
are we back?
We're back.
Okay,
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
no, it's technology is fun. I was saying that we could get lists of things in our area, right? You can Google it and begin developing just an awareness of the abundance of what is available. Like I was saying, here in Alaska, we have um, different times of year for different things. And I
Right.
know sometimes people go out and there's these huge events for exotic mushrooms, not like trippy mushrooms, but like good eating
Right.
mushrooms, like healthy mushrooms, and other things. So probably in every place in the world, there's going to be some natural, a list of natural things that are going to help you, and then just kind of hunting for it and figuring out different ways that you can utilize it. I know I love fiddle fern heads that
Yes.
are coming up. Like I love them. I just like go and like eat them. And then we have all the berries here too. Like berry picking is a huge pastime and so very healthy and antioxidant rich and nutrients and lovely.
Oh
So,
yeah. I mean, we have a pharmacy in Alaska right in our backyard. And
yeah.
there's so many things that are going to be coming up, plantain and Colt's foot, all kinds of stuff. So I do recommend, educating yourself, especially with mushrooms. So I'm a chicken with mushrooms. I don't know mushrooms well enough yet. I love going out hunting them with somebody that knows because I love mushrooms.
I've only done it with people that know too.
It's really scary because they can be really poisonous.
Yeah.
So I do recommend, educating yourself for sure. And I mean, there's so many online schools right now that are so good.
Yeah. Like what would you recommend?
A lot of this, there's a guy named Sam Kaufman that's the herbal medic. He's great because he does a lot of outdoor stuff. But again, like he's from Texas, so he does know some of Alaska plants. For Alaska, I like Beverly Gray. She wrote the boreal. Let's see, I think I actually have it here.
Okay.
Boreal herbal. She's amazing, and I took some classes from her at APU. She does workshops all the time.
Excellent.
I'm probably going to do some workshops out here at the lodge. But
it is beautiful. Yeah, you guys are close. Yeah, you have a lot of things that go out there. So why don't we talk more about you and like just following all of your passions, and the lodge and homeschooling and travel and whatever else. Like how would you recommend somebody who is like leaning into themselves and just beginning to like really listen to their intuition, not only about herbs and outside and everything, but also just about living their truth and kind of going outside of the box. I mean, living across the lake, if you guys don't know. So if you don't know, if you're listening from Alaska and you know Tara, you might know, but she lives like across the lake, and you have to either drive over the lake or you have to boat to her house, to the lodge, or fly. I guess you guys fly into. So it's off the beaten path, and your life is very off the beaten path. Like people might look at it and be like, how did you design that?
I know. Well, I'm very adaptable by nature. I always have been. So that helps.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just trying to be courageous, just trying to find that courage. Mm-hmm. Every time I've said no, like this is terrifying. This is more terrifying to me than traveling by myself in Morocco or something. Just saying yes, just do it, try it, and I was terrified to homeschool. I was never a great student. I loved to learn, but I was never,
have your topics.
Yeah, exactly. So that terrified me. I didn't really have a choice, but you just gotta, it's baby steps. It's one foot in front of the other. And I try to take little pieces of different things that give me courage. I've never, my friend Adrian, we joke that I drink all the Kool-Aid, but I just sample it all. I don't like buy into it. I've never had a guru, and there's little bits of truth in everything. So you just have to try it and figure it out,
Yeah.
I mean,
so I love that you say that. And that might be why. So I think like where I want to go in this is let's talk about this courage and the yes. And then allowing yourself to be really open. We've been talking about that too. And it's something that you and I have in common is we drink all the Kool-Aid, but we're just sipping. We're sipping the Kool-Aid and we'll decide like where we're going to like go skinny dipping. Or maybe I'll just go skinny dipping. I like skinny dipping. But you get my point. It was a metaphor. It was a made up metaphor in the moment. That said, like saying yes and living into that curiosity, and having courage beyond, like besides fear. I think what comes up for me anyway, the opposite of courage is fear. What if I did it wrong? Or what if something weird happens, or whatever story that's there. what have you found that's really beneficial for you to step into that courage within yourself?
Well, it's going to sound terrible, but I'm just going to be honest. I look to other people. I've done this since I was a kid. And if there's something I want to do, I look at the people that are doing it. And I'm like, well, an example is I was sitting for my captain's license many years ago. And I was like, if that guy can do it, I can do it. Which just sounds, I mean, not very spiritual or, but
okay,
honestly,
this isn't a spiritual show. Oh, it doesn't have to be all spiritual. There's no.
We're all human and we're all amazing. So if somebody else can do it, what can keep me from doing it? If you want to get your pilot's license, if you want to, stay at home and be a homeschool mom, just there's people that are doing it. And the other thing I've learned, reaching out, people will help you.
Mm-hmm.
Having the courage to say, I want to do this, but I'm not sure how. Can you help me? I'm always like shocked how many people go, what can I do?
For sure. That ask or request, I think, is huge. And people are scared of being a burden, or else I hear that a lot. I hear it mainly from the teenagers around me. Oh, I just don't want to be a burden. I just don't want to be a burden. And I think that what we're missing is when we get to give, I know for me at least, and I'm sure you too, when we get to give, and somebody really receives it, there's no greater gift. That is not a burden. That's a total fill me up, yes moment for me. Yeah.
And that was a hard lesson for me to learn too, because I'm a people pleaser. So not only to give, but to be able to receive and be like, okay, this is okay. And I don't need to feel guilty about receiving. And I mean, I've had some people really help me out with tremendous things that I was able to not feel guilty, and then do the same for somebody else.
Because it goes around. Faith Young and I did an interview, and she was talking about the cyclical giving and receiving. And when you don't receive, you block somebody's ability to have that continuation, right? And same if you hesitate on giving because fear of judgment or something, right? You're going to block that ability.
Right. And so that goes with medicine and stuff as well. I mean, I went to an event at your house that Honey and Michael put on. I had no idea what I was getting involved in. I heard somebody talk about aliens. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. And I completely just went, all right, I'm receiving. And it was amazing. I mean, it opened up stuff for me that I would have never expected.
Yeah. And for me, I'm like you in the sense of putting my toe in everything. I feel like I have a deep well of knowledge, but I'm not an expert in anything. It's just I don't have a one way is a highway way.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I've really tried to people please my way into that at different times of my life, and it did not work. It backfired on me. So, but it doesn't mean that the depth that everybody else goes to that I necessarily have to go to with them or totally understand or agree in order to take a blessing and receive what either I'm ready to receive, or to receive a broader perspective, or to just receive an opportunity to give compassion to somebody, and curiosity and introduce people. I felt like that whole event was very much for me to have my own experience and really introduce people. It was so much yep, let's come, let's do this, right? And then I got to go with you guys and land on the mountain over there. And that was just, for me, I was like, yes, sleeping lady. That was so beautiful.
The one thing you said that made me think about it, curiosity and courage go hand in hand. you have that curiosity, and then just having the courage to explore it, no matter what's going on in your life. If you're
What are
on
some of the
Wall
other
Street.
things that you've gotten to take courage and step into, especially like as you travel, that just opened you up to new things that you thought, oh, like maybe you didn't become an expert in it or like even agree with it necessarily, but it gave you perspective on relating to other people, that union that we all have.
Yeah. I started traveling very young, and it opened my eyes that we're all human, and we get so programmed. I remember being in a Muslim country like shortly after 9/11, and these people, they just were worried about feeding their family. They could care less if I was American, but I was like terrified going there. I almost canceled the trip. And I learned that lesson every time I travel, that we're all having this human experience, and we're all, it's that quantum entanglement that everybody talks about. We're all just trying to have the courage to make it day by day and get through. And I think everybody feels like this event, because it's worldwide, is definitely going to connect us even more, even if we can't travel.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to bring courage and bring healing and connect people. I hope. That's my hope.
I hope so too. I feel like we now have something we can all relate about, right? We now all have a common story that we know is a common story. Hey, we have a common struggle that we know is a common struggle, even though we always have, most likely. Like it's like now, oh, where were you at blah blah blah? It's kind of like 9/11 here in the US, right? Where were you in 9/11? Now we can ask, well, where were you during COVID? Right? And
I know.
and what did you learn? Yeah. No matter where you were in the world, like everybody knows that it's happening or happened, or I assume most people do.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's not segregating anybody. So stepping into this courage, following your what I'm hearing, I love to put little lessons together for everybody.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing here is like this blueprint to really trust that things are provided for, and that there's a relatability, that there's help, that there is supplies in your own backyard, that there is a way to really trust your heart and follow your heart through courage to receive what you want. And I'm sure it takes courage to go out in the backyard and pick your own dandelions and wash them and make your first dandelion tea or dandelion bath. Or find that book and trust yourself to go out and find things and forage for things for your family, and just trust the abundance in the world just as much as it takes us courage to lean into a new project or travel the world, especially after this event, right? And everyone's kind of scared to travel, right? Where
everybody's kind of scared.
Yeah,
we're trying something new all the time. I'll have retreats out here, and I'll encourage the women. I always come up with something really wacky. We call it my woo-woo stuff. And I'll go, how woo-woo do you want to go? Because we can go really woo-woo. But it's fun. So last summer we did yoni steaming, which was out of everybody's comfort zone. And we yoni steamed to Yanni. Remember Yanni, the musician from the 80s and 90s?
Yeah.
I mean, weird stuff like that, but everybody loved it and laughed and had fun. And they're like, wow, I've never done that before. But then also felt the benefits of it. So, I mean, why not? What do you have to lose? Like, just try stuff. Go pick your dandelions. Go steam your yoni or, whatever.
No, I love it. I've totally done it. I love it. You just try different things and connect. I think there's so many different cultures, and there's so many different ways of thinking that oftentimes we get segregated into the words or the language right, that we use, or we get segregated into like different belief systems, when if we opened up, we'd have such a wealth of wisdom, medical wisdom and alternative wisdom, and spiritual wisdom and physical wisdom and health and wellness. If I think if we just combined East and West, how far we could come in medicine and in relating to one another, hey, without that segregation, which we talked about, I think, like 2 days ago in this show.
Yeah.
Kind of pulling it all
And
together.
trusting to let the labels go. Because I know I struggled for a while because I grew up with amazing women from Croatia, Irish background, gardeners, kind of herbalists in their own way.
Yeah.
But and hijacked by religion. And then even when I started doing different things, which to me are gifts from God, like I had that pressure of, like everybody calls me the good witch out here. And I'm like, I'm not a witch, but okay, I am a witch. Can I be a witch and believe in Jesus? I can, because I don't think a witch is, a cultist and
Right.
I like weird things. I draw the line at Ouija board, no Ouija. But, but I like walking around with dowsing rods and, just
Yeah.
playing.
Well, that's how they find
doing fun
water,
stuff.
right? That's how they found water and minerals and iron and coal and gold, the dowsing rods. I mean, there's so much mixture between science and just electromagnetic forces in the world that we're not aware of. And we use them every day in cell phones and, radio waves and this internet discussion that we're having right now. And yet there's still this denial that there's a magnetic field, whether it's your thoughts creating your magnetic field, right? And we call it manifesting, when you direct your thoughts in a magnetic field and call things into your life, right? Or your emotions. And it's just language. And language really, I think, is a huge barrier for so many people, whether it's religious or culture, right? That brings those two languages together. And I think this virus maybe will bridge a little bit, if not a lot, I hope it's a lot, of a gap for us to begin to try to understand, like, where's a person coming from when they say something different, when they're using dowsing rods instead of I don't know, what else would you use to find, like drilling into the ground to find the water, right? Or using a pendulum to see, is this plant good for me or not, right? Or looking it up online.
Yeah.
Because energy, everything is energy.
Yes. Well, that's what's so exciting about quantum physics right now. It's kind of proving these beliefs, both religious and new agey, whatever you want to call it. It's real. It's there.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun when you're when you can find the courage to just try different things. Then you get tangible effects. Because like I said, I'll drink a little bit of the Kool-Aid, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. But when I get a tangible effect, I'm a believer. Like reflexology, acupuncture, I've felt the benefits. They've changed my health, my life.
Yeah, me too.
That's tangible. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that shift and different types of hypnotherapy and even like just directing my thoughts in meditation and prayer, like moving from really like kind of following my thoughts to forcing my thoughts to follow me, has brought me so much more happiness and joy in my life, and just remarkable opportunities. And I have attracted different opportunities that I don't know would have just flown to me if I was Miss Pitiful Me Negative Millie. And
Right.
always looking at the problem like I was raised to be. Or people pleasing, right? And trying to do whatever he said or she said and do it really good. So they're proud of me. Yeah. That doesn't.
It's good. We all go through that.
Oh, we totally do. It's a beautiful phase that we all have in our life. So if you're in that phase, like, own it. But I would never be in my early 30s or mid 30s ever again. Or anytime before that.
I told you something miraculous happens when you're 50. Everybody warned me and I'm like, really? And it's true. You're just like, oh, I don't care. I mean, you care, but you just don't care.
You're not attached to it as much. I was talking to the girls, my girls who are all in their teens, and I was like, you're going to get through this period of time. Like, you're going to get through this. And I know it's hard, right? But I would never want to be a teenager again. Like, I wouldn't go back. And they're like, we cannot wait to be in our 20s. And I was like, it's going to be better. Right? You're going to feel better in your 20s. And you're going to feel even better in your 30s. And you're going to feel even better in your 40s. And I'm really excited. Like, my mom has told me, well, until she was 70, she told me that 60 was the best. Right? And now that she's 70, despite everything, she's like, yeah, well, this is pretty darn good. So I think that as long as we continue to have courage to learn about different things and really utilize what works for us to live our happiest life and have that unification, then we have the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah. And to keep learning. Although I have asked my friends to intervene if I go back to school again, because it's kind of ridiculous at this point. But I mean, it's really nice. It's to keep learning and to keep, any way you can, even if it's a new book. But what a great opportunity for all of us to go in and learn about our families, learn about our triggers, and be real. I know I'll get on social media and I'm like, oh, everybody's going deeper in their meditation practice. Everybody's doing all this stuff. And I'm eating Ben and Jerry's and crying and watching fear porn. I'm like, what? What is happening to me? So I don't know. I think we all need to keep it real too. Have the courage to keep it real. Because if I'm doing that, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing that too. I mean, then we can kind of build each other back up and say, okay, put down the Ben and Jerry's. Get on your mat,
Yeah. How's the Ben and Jerry's feeling? I've been doing whipped cream, and this morning I woke up and I was just like, yeah, I think I'm done with the dairy. The girls too, they're like, we have far too much dairy in the house, Mom. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We sure do. We do have far too much dairy in the house. So what would be the biggest thing to like kind of bring this all together of abundance, of looking for what is around you, by accepting what is, by looking outside of the box, whatever that box is, for your solution, and having the courage to step into it, which I think is pretty much what you've been exempling and what you live and what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling. For somebody that is a perpetual people pleaser, or I don't even know what they're thinking. They're just like, I'm scared. I'm scared to follow my dreams, and I'm scared to learn something new, because what if I get it wrong, right? There's that story. What if somebody's mad at me? What if I'm called a witch, right? What if I lose everything? There's the opposite. Like, what if I gain everything? What would you be your next step or advice for them?
My advice is kind of the advice I give myself. You can always go back. You can always go back to being the scared person. So just try it. If you try stepping out of your comfort zone, try something uncomfortable. Try, even if it's something as simple as, okay, I'm going to look through my cabinet. I'm going to look up herbs that help the respiratory system, and I'm going to make my family a warm stew with cayenne and, curry and all, wonderful vegetables or whatever you have.
Yeah.
And they might hate it. Well, if they hate it, then I can decide that I'm never cooking again like I used to be. You know what I mean? You could always, it sounds scary, but you can always, if you don't like it, you can always go back,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what always, I'm like, okay, if I'm not comfortable here and I want to go here, if I don't like it here, I can go back. That's what's so amazing is we feel like we don't have options.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Once we choose one way, like it's that way or the highway, right? It's like that way. It's not like we can, but we can. We can remember that we can turn back. We can go back to what did work.
There's so many options. I mean, with teenagers, so it's so hard, but they're going to be grown-ups like in a blink. And it's kind of scary, kind of sad. No, what am I going to do? But I'm like, ooh, I have options. Where do I want to live? What am I going to do?
Right.
Am I going to start a new business? Am I going to and even dreaming about those options are a step, I think.
Yeah.
And trusting in God, trusting in yourself. Because I don't think anybody's going to come save us. I mean, nobody's going to come save me right now or bring me more Ben and Jerry's. So I got to figure it out. And just being brave enough to go, okay. And that might be part of all of this too, is for us to learn that maybe God, I don't want to get into a religious conversation because, we could go there, but maybe God wants us to step into our own power and let go of the victim. I'm just going to wait around.
Looking outside of myself.
Apocalypse and
yeah. What keeps coming to my mind is like the kingdom of heaven was within. The kingdom of heaven is within. Right. And I'm like, what does that mean? But I think it means what it is for me, at least. And from what I know about victim mentality and everything, it takes a lot of courage to shift that mold within all of us. And I don't know if it's something that will shift. I know I find myself in it. Like I totally find myself in it. And
I'm daily.
Yeah, it's like there I am. And sometimes I just need to wallow in it, right? For a moment and just total acceptance, total love, and be like, yeah, that just totally blew. And other times it's like, okay, all right, like you've had enough. And I love that we can have that perspective to turn back into the courage, pull up our bootstraps, turn back into that courage and say, okay, what am I interested in next?
Right.
Where do I want to go? What do I want to learn? What kind of scares me even?
Yeah. What are the options? And I like what you said too, because so much right now is, keep your vibration up, which I agree with completely. But, I love Jung's work where, you have to have that darkness of the soul. You have to go in and experience it to figure out, okay, I've done it. I've sat there and okay, I'm a jerk right now and I'm forgetting what it's like to be a teenager that can't see her friends right now. That's, just trying to trigger me. But then I remember, okay, I was that teenager. Okay. Like, developing, and I have to go in and feel that icky feeling and then go, okay, and then deal with it. And then I can get my vibration back up.
Yeah, exactly. It's that place of acceptance. And as a parent right now, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. It's
so great.
It's so great and so testing. But I will tell you, like, I have walked my girls this last week, like right into their crap and through it and just faced so many things that I never thought that I would face head on. And part of it's been scary. Part of it has been like, oh my gosh, why am I even dealing with this? And then the other side of it are these deep, beautiful conversations, these long hugs, these, "Oh, I totally relate to you. And yes, that sucks. And oh my gosh. And oh, how beautiful. And, just beautiful, tender, incredible opening moments that if there wasn't that rebellion or dark side or muckiness of
Yeah.
being a teenager or being a human, really, there wouldn't be that beauty, and that connection, that relatability. And I think that brings us back to like what this virus is doing for the whole world, walking us through that muck and giving us something that we can really relate to.
Yeah. And I think that the courage part with especially teenagers that are in quarantine is it's going to be a beautiful time for them to learn something that we were never taught. What is their stuff and what is everybody else's? Because
Mhm.
I know, especially women, that tend to be so empathic. I was never taught. I could walk into a room and all of a sudden feel sad and
Mhm.
not even know why. And it wasn't even my stuff, it was somebody else's. And so there's so much like fear and anger and different things going on collectively, especially on the news.
Mhm.
It's been kind of fun and a great opportunity for me to go, okay, are you feeling this way because you saw this on YouTube or one of your friends are scared, or is that how you feel? And a lot of times,
Ooh,
you know,
that's tangible too. That
and
is
it's tangible
so
and it's
tangible. Did you feel it
really
on
hard
your
to do.
phone, or did
Yeah.
you feel it, were you triggered by the
Yeah.
TV or a movie or something a friend said or did? Or is it
Yeah.
really what's happening for you right now? That is, yep, my girls are having that
I know.
conversation. I'm
My
going
life
there.
would have been much easier if somebody had been able to guide me that, hey, that's not your stuff, that's your parents or
Mhm.
that's
I feel like
I mean,
for me, like that's so like tangible how you just explained that. And I, until this very moment, like I try to make it so like, well, whose is it? Right. And like, so kind of woo woo. Like,
yeah.
is it mine? Is it,
And they look at you like you're
is it
crazy.
theirs?
Yeah.
I don't think, well, what was just happening on Facebook, right? What was just happening over on the news? What was just happening in that talk, right? I'm not thinking that.
Yeah.
I'm always like, and the way that you just explained that, I think will free a lot of people and help us relate to one another. And when we know where
Yeah.
we're at, then we can step courageously into whatever's in front of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in being courageous with that, and then I think with your family, like cooking for each other and making the teas. And I mean, me dropping you those teas off, that was as healing for me as it was for you, because it's
And they're so cool. The girls
spreading
are
the
like,
love
look at
around.
these little roses, mom. Like all the roses poured out. I'm like picking them out. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't have all the roses at one time.
Yeah.
But and steaming it. So for what's in the kitchen, I just feel like the conversation we had is so deep, and it is all the lemonades, right? But for in the kitchen, for people that are in the kitchen right now that want to um make a pot of herbs that might be just in their cabinet.
Yeah.
You said it once before, but can we go through that one more time? Because I think that everybody listening should just make a pot, put that steam on, have a beautiful facial steam. Men and women all can benefit from facial steams. I mean, look at Tara's beautiful face at 50. Flawless. So like we could do facial steams and then you drink it. Like how beautiful is that? Okay, so what are the ingredients that we might have in our pantry?
Well, it seems like, okay, so I'll do pantry, but also it seems like everybody has essential oils these days. So, so this one I wouldn't drink, but you could make a steam. Just be careful because animals have a hard time with frankincense, but I steam frankincense and eucalyptus. That's amazing. And that's what a lot of herbalists are recommending that I really trust that, have been in the industry professionally for my friend
Yeah.
Shelly Torgove in Denver for 30 years. So that's what she's recommending.
Okay.
In the kitchen, You can steam rosemary. I would do rosemary, bay leaf. If you want to do a tea, depending on what people have around, you can do mint, obviously. I've been doing, it's hard for me to realize that everybody doesn't collect herbs. I have a wall of herbs that I grow. And so, but my go-to has been nettles, which everybody probably doesn't have. But everybody has bay leaf, everybody has sage, thyme. Oregano is antiviral. Oregano is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. And those teas, so if you're going to use oregano and thyme and rosemary, it's, you use some honey. So you can make the infusion, you can steam. I've even been steaming in the shower with rosemary. Make the tea, pour it over some honey. You don't want to boil the honey, and you don't want to boil the herbs. You want it to steam, but you don't want to boil it, because boiling, takes away, it kills a lot of the constituents if you're going to drink it. If you're not going to drink it, you can boil it away.
Okay. Yeah. So we want to keep it right at that simmer spot. Okay. Beautiful. Tara, thank you so much.
Honey, you're welcome. Thank you.
Honey and lemon, you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
I hope everyone is more courageous. Like stepping into their own and being willing to try different things and discover, like, what does a person mean by what they're saying, or what is what they're doing? How is it benefiting them, especially with medicine? I think with medicine and herbs and everything we have around us, we have so many tools around us that we don't recognize. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, whether to come to your lodge or come to one of your retreats or just pick your brain, how would they do that?
The best way is honestly on my Facebook account.
Perfect. Yeah. Just Tara Oney.
Yep. And I'm trying to break out of my shyness about being on the camera. So I'm going to be posting herbal things that I do for my family. And so, Perfect. Yeah, if you want to follow. And I usually do 2 retreats a summer.
Yeah. So, and they're beautiful. Your land is incredible. Summer. Yeah. All right, you guys. Yes. So tomorrow is the 8th. So we have Angel Quintana's coming on tomorrow. That is going to be a fantastic interview itself. Again, all of these are intertwining so beautifully. I hope that you're enjoying them. Please subscribe to our channel at Your Own University, and check me out at lishaantica.com or yourownuniversity.com. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, Lisha. Bye.